I'm telling you what, the glove at third base is amazing, but the bat is so alive. 2 home runs, none in the elimination game yesterday, a double and a single. He has 4 RBIs yesterday, 7 overall in the College World Series. Absolutely amazing performance, but it's coming from everywhere from these Bulldogs on the other side of the field. Georgia Bulldogs, they want it too.
Oral, it's going to be great. Up next, game 1 of the finals for both Georgia and Fresno State. It represents a shot at a national championship.
The NCAA College World Series is presented on ESPN by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's. And in part by Coca-Cola Zero, Real Coke Taste, and 0 calories.
Welcome to the College World Series in Omaha, Nebraska. Fresno State and Georgia almost ready to go. First, we check in with Erin Andrews. Erin.
Mike, thank you. I'm here with Georgia head coach Dave Perno. And, Coach, I know you're a history buff. You usually give some sort of history lesson before the game. Today, you shaked it up a bit. What'd you say?
I just told them how proud I was. And we did it together, everybody, united in turning this thing around and doing something special. And can't get more special than this.
It certainly can't. You've had some time off. You've played 1 game in 6 days. Fresno State, on the other hand, 3 straight games. How much does momentum being on their side concern you at this point?
I'll have to tell you in a few innings. But, you know, as far as the time off, I thought yesterday was an earned day off. So we're in great shape with our pitching. We just need to execute.
All right, Coach, thank you so much. Now we're going to send it over to Kyle Peterson, who's with Fresno State. Kyle?
Thanks, Aaron. With Mike Batesel, you guys started the season 8-12. Now you're 2 wins away from winning a national title. How did this happen?
Well, this is a team whose best tool is their heart and their character. We're not going to make a bunch of web gems. We're not going to hit a lot of home runs. Sean's not going to dazzle you today with electric stuff. But hopefully we're going to play smart and with a lot of heart, and that's really what they've been doing for the last 6-7 weeks.
Let's talk about Sean just for a minute. Sean Bonesteel's going to be on the mound for you guys today. You've battled to get to this point, but how'd you come to the decision to start Bonesteel today?
Well, we had a handful of guys who just can't go today, and Sean's getting the ball because he got the ball in a super regional and pitched well. He's already had the ball here, so he's been up on this mound in front of this crowd and experienced this already. So I think at the very least we're going to get a guy out there who's going to pound the zone and not have a bunch of nerves.
All right, Mike. Congratulations. Good luck, man.
Thank you.
Okay. Mike.
We got to like all these kids. We've had an opportunity to talk to them. Both teams, both coaching staffs, bunch of good people. Let's take a look at the Fresno State starting lineup. Who do we highlight tonight, partner?
Well, Alan Amadi, you really have to watch this guy swing the bat. It's the best pure swing on this Bulldog team of Fresno State. All-around athlete. Don't be surprised. He's a first baseman. He's a converted middle infielder. He can throw 92 from the mound. As a pitcher in high school, he might end up there the way this Fresno State pitching staff is so tired.
And there is Trevor Holder with a 4.45 ERA, his second start here in Omaha this year. He is 8-4 on the year. Went 4 innings his first time out, gave up 4 hits and 3 earned runs. No decision.
He's got a fastball, a changeup, circle change. He'll throw it to righties and lefties, a curveball that he'll mix in. And Trevor's a big game pitcher. He went 8 2/3 in the Super Regionals. And, you know, that game was against NC State, and it probably was one of the biggest games that Georgia had, and he really came through. He wasn't too impressed with his outing against Miami, the 4 innings, and he got kidded from his teammates a lot in the off days that they've had because they're 3-0 because of the home runs and the walks. But he intends to pound the strike zone today. We talked to him in our meeting.
As you might expect, this has been a very good defensive club out here.
Well, Matt Cerrone, he's got the 4 errors out there, but he goes after everything. He had 5 Ks in their last game. No, he's not a pitcher. Those were 5 Ks at the plate. But you don't want to take your defense into the field or your offense into the field, and Matt Cerrone has not done that. You talk about that with catchers. Don't take your at-bats behind the plate. Well, he doesn't take them into center field.
He missed part of the SEC tournament with a concussion after running into the wall making a spectacular catch. So he's willing to give it up for the club. And Muno, the freshman from Thousand Oaks, California, will lead it off against Trevor Holder. Muno hitting .331 for the year, and in the College World Series, he's hitting .400. 6 hits and 15 trips, including a home run.
And .331 for a freshman at any level is absolutely amazing. I don't care if you're a high school freshman or a college freshman. And then you're playing Division I, and now your team is playing for the College World Series for the finals.
Jim Garman, the home plate umpire. We have 6 umpires working the final series. Strike called at the knees at 89 miles an hour. It's 2-2 to the leadoff man, Danny Muno. This guy works pitchers, will foul off an awful lot. Just trying to stay alive. Takes this one low.
You know, one of the things you'll notice about all the Fresno State Bulldogs is the confidence that they personify in their body language. Just watching this freshman, they are just out of the same cloth as their head coach. It's not an arrogance, but it's like gym rat gamers that just keep grinding it out.
Guys that love the game, know how to play the game and play it hard every day. They give you 9 innings. No matter what, you can always expect it.
And when you're on the other side of the diamond, you want to play against these guys, and you admire the way they go after it.
Already a 7-pitch at bat for Danny Muno. And Mike Batesel says sometimes pitchers just say, let's just throw one right down the middle and get this over with. Or throw one in his ribs and say, let's get this over with. Worked him for a walk. Nice start for Danny Muno. Trying to relate the seeding as a number 4 regional seed, which is what they were going into the beginning of the NCAA tournament. It relates to number 13 through 16 in the NCAA basketball tournament. 13 through 16 doesn't do anything in the NCAA basketball tournament, and number 4 seeds in regions in baseball don't do anything. You have to beat too many good teams. It's too big an uphill climb, and yet here they are. It's a remarkable run, and Gavin Hedstrom, the junior from Irvine, California, stands in with a runner on. You play small ball here and try to get the advantage. Hedstrom trying to lay it down, and that will go foul.
Well, that's a big part of the Fresno State Bulldogs game. Hedstrom being a right-handed hitter, you'd think, why wouldn't, they lead off with the righty maybe and put the lefty so you could use that hole with Danny Muno. But you know what? Mike Batesel knows that this guy hits behind the runner. You see him charting all the different things. Talk about a gym rat and a guy who's on top of every detail. He runs a pro club at the college level.
First 2 years, Hedstrom had less than 20 at-bats.
Here we go.
He has really come through this season, hitting .309 on the season, 7 homers, driven in 34 out of that number 2 slot. In an 0-2 hole here. You're thinking about Muno at first. He has 10 steals this year in 13 tries, so he does have speed.
Fresno State has stolen 5 out of 6 bags here at the College World Series, where the Georgia Bulldogs are 0 for 4. Now the Bulldogs had to go after Jason Castro, the first rounder for the Astros as a catcher in 2 games, so I can see why their running game got shut down.
Hedstrom strikes out for the first out of the inning. Holder, not necessarily a strikeout pitcher, 64 fanned in 91 innings of work, but that was a nice pitch.
Nice breaking ball right here. Here it is coming right at you. Look at the spin. That's going down pretty good, and you also have the shadows here right now to contend with.
Eric Wetzel, who is the number 2 hitter on this ball club at .368. And doing a terrific job in Omaha, hitting .474. That leads the club in the College World Series. Takes a called strike. He was a 13th round pick this year. And just because they're a Cinderella story doesn't mean they don't have talent. They do. Sometimes it takes teams longer than others to get it together, and Holder looks very sharp at the beginning of this game. That's 0-2.
And this is their toughest out. To make him look bad with that pitch means he's got great movement today. We talked about the shadows. The intensity of those shadows will vary, and then they will move in and out because of the configuration of Rosenblatt. But with the overcast skies that we've had bright sunshine, and then we've kind of had that filtered sunshine. So that lighting changes.
Oh! Missed with a fastball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The wind, not much of a factor, going gently out to left field. When they moved the fences, this became a much more hitter-friendly ballpark, and they did it in the area of a live bat. This one gets away, and Muno able to advance to second base. So he's in scoring position with 1 out, and that's a wild pitch charged to Holder.
That's that same breaking ball, but this one he pulls into the left-handed batter's box that he struck out Gavin Hedstrom on.
That is the 8th for Holder and the 23rd. A World Series record this year. This one is chopped toward third. Pizell charges, gloves it, throws. Boy, it looked like that was so close to pulling Poitras off the bag. You'll see first baseman cheat. They leave a little early, but he looked like he was pulled off and left early at the same time.
I tell you, Eric Wetzel, this little chopper, and Ryan Pizell does a nice job coming in wrong footed. It looks like he got him by a hair. An offensive star at third base making a nice solid defensive play.
The fielder's choice now, a runner at third with 2 out. And Suzdorf, the WAC player of the year, is up. It's a guy they have counted on all year long. 83 runs batted in. Hitting .340, both of those second on the team. Leads the club in doubles, triples, stolen bases. This is a 16th round draft choice of the Phillies. And I think this guy's got a future.
A lot of the Fresno State Bulldogs remind me of guys that will make it to the big leagues, late draft picks, but they'll end up being utility guys. If you look at their roster, a lot of them are converted shortstops. Shortstop now plays first base. Shortstop now plays center field.
Yep.
Shortstop now at catcher. They're all-around athletes. And I think Mike Batesel has handpicked these guys. This is his 6th year at the helm. And he's got guys that play with tenacity, and they can play almost anywhere on the field.
And if Suzdorf doesn't make it, he is a 4.0 student in engineering. Oh! It's not a bad alternative.
No. There's not many 4 hitters that are lead your club in stolen bases.
That's right. Yeah, they're very athletic because of those former shortstops. Of course, many teams do that. Usually the shortstop in high school is the best player on the club, the best position player at least. Got him out ahead and struck him out. Great start for Trevor Holder. They strand a runner at third and go down in the top of the first. We'll go to the bottom of the first. 0-0. Georgia will be coming to the bat in the bottom of the first. The number 8 national seed tied with Fresno State. 0-0. Let's take a look at their batting order today.
And we're going to highlight Rich Poitras, and the reason we're highlighting him over the SEC Player of the Year Gordon Beckham is because he has to protect him, and he is second in all the key categories to Gordon Beckham. But the main thing is that Beckham leads the team in walks, and Poitras has to protect when they pitch around Beckham, and he's done a very good job here at the College World Series.
Boy, hasn't he ever?
Oh. Wow.
Bulldogs everywhere. What a sweetie, huh? Bonesteel, the starting pitcher, gives up a chop to Pizell, who hammered it into that hard dirt, and he's going to go for 2. And Pizell, with that hustle, makes it into second base. Suzdorf fielded it like, hey, that's it, it's a single. And here is Pizell bursting out of the box, and he was headed for 2 from the start.
Ryan Pizell has been a leader, not only a senior emotional leader. This is a team that was 23-33 last year. Dave Perno got together a bunch of guys and said, you 9 guys are going to lead us. Pizell was the #1 guy that he went after with Gordon Beckham. It's going to be tough. We're going to turn this thing around, and that kind of hustle is showing his leadership.
It's a mental error you would not think Fresno State would make at this stage. And Bonesteel didn't need a break like that. The young man with a 6.75 ERA. This is a tired pitching staff. They have no one left who has a starter that they would expect to go more than 4 or 5 innings. This one's hit the left. Suzdorf, who worked hard to make himself a better defensive outfielder, gets that one and gets it back in, and Olson is out. What do we see on defense for this club?
Well, that young man, Danny Muno, at shortstop. We talked about the responsibilities of a freshman, not only the leadoff hitter, but the shortstop out there covering all the ground. And that young man has taken on this responsibility in a big, big way. You're talking about a gamer team, a bunch of tough kids that really work at it, and they've got a freshman as their leader at short and the top of the order.
And the leader at short for Georgia is Gordon Beckham, who is in the batter's box right now, the All-American, a top 10 draft pick, number 8 overall by the White Sox, and they got a good one. This kid has tremendous ability. Skies this one on the infield, though. And taken by the second baseman Eric Wetzel on the shortstop side of the bag. Go back to the previous at-bat when Olson failed to advance the runner, hit it to left, and they didn't go for small ball trying to get him over, hoping that if Olson was going to hit it, he'd at least pull it.
Yeah, Matt Olson, a left-handed hitter, is going to be kicking himself there on the bench. The Georgia Bulldogs are very fundamentally sound. And you know David Perno will remind him that that at-bat that out should have went to the right field side of second base.
Big out for Bonesteel. Now he'll face Poitras, who's about as hot as it gets. 5 out of 11 at the College World Series, hitting .455. He's had 3 doubles and went 4 for 5 in his last game.
The first thing I notice is that Georgia's very aggressive at the plate. They've got a guy on the mound that has trouble throwing strikes with a 6.75 ERA. Ryan Pizell swings at the first pitch. Matt Olson swings early, hits it to the wrong side of the field. Gordon Beckham, SEC Player of the Year, first-round draft pick, pops up a pitch that's not a strike. They need to know where they are and concentrate on just winning the game, not think about the ability of the guy on the mound and thinking, oh, we can kill this guy right away. You still got to work counts and have good, solid at-bats.
Pickoff play at second base. The throw was in the dirt. Bonesteel is making his second World Series appearance tonight. Pitched earlier, went 2 innings, gave up 2 runs, and his ERA 9.00.
Now, Bonesteel didn't know that he was going to pitch until about 2 o'clock, and it reminded me of my first big league outing. I didn't find out until the team bus arrived. There was a baseball in my chair. I picked it up, and it looked like somebody wanted my autograph, which I knew at that time nobody did. And Lasorda said, the ball's yours today, kid. And I think that's why Bonesteel didn't know until 2 o'clock that he was pitching today, because they didn't want the nerves to set in on some of these kids.
Is that the theory?
Well, I think so. The 6.75 ERA, it's a little embarrassing. ESPN's going to put the stats up. Our pitching staff is burnt out. This is not really why this kid is here. He's part of the staff. He's getting an opportunity of a lifetime. But this staff is very, very tired.
That's on the corner. Nice pitch there, and it's 3-2 to Poitras. This would be a big out for him. If the nerves are jangling, it would really settle him.
Oh, it's huge. It might be a 2-inning outing for almost everybody on this staff that comes into the game.
And they're not even sure they've got a starter who can go more than 3 tomorrow. They're hoping to get to Wednesday. They might have some guy who has actually been in the rotation most of the year that could give them 5 innings.
Yeah. Well, they have led the CWS in ERA, which is absolutely amazing.
Isn't it?
You know, the feistiness usually comes, you watch guys diving for balls and taking the extra base like Ryan Pizell did for Georgia. But there's been a lot of tenacity and feistiness and gamers on the mound also.
Here's the 3-2 to Poitras, right down the middle, ripped to left. Susdorf comes up. They're going to send him. Here's to throw, and up the line. The throw to second is not in time. Poitras delivers again. This guy is just ripping the ball. And that time, Bonesteel threw a fastball right down the pipe, and it was shelled to left.
Well, nice solid swing. Really didn't try and do too much. A ball right down the middle. He could try and hit for a home run, but he just stays on it. Gets a 2-out single. Susdorf makes a nice throw. I would have cut this ball and got my pitcher out of an inning right there and got that out at second base. If I'm Fresno State, I'd give up a run early to get in the dugout because it'll change the momentum. Hey, it's only 1 and we got right out of there.
When Massineri stands in, and with a runner in scoring position, he's got a chance to drive in a run with a single.
Exactly, and extra outs could be tough on this Fresno State Bulldog pitching staff today.
Massineri has his average at 336, but only 182 here in Omaha. 2 for 11, and this one is right at the second baseman. Big hop for Wetzel, and he throws him out. Couple of hits in the inning, and Georgia grabs the early lead, 1-0 in the College World Series.
Trevor, what was it like having a first rounder like Jamal Weeks take your ball into the right field stands?
You know, I didn't think he could hit it that far. Almost hit the zoo.
The first home run was something, but then after giving up a second absolute bomb, explain to us your thinking process on the mound after Takati hits one about 3/4 of the way up the bleachers.
Yeah, ball's well struck.
Fastball hit to deep left. Very deep left, and that baby is out of here. What a time for Ben Clough. Hit his 3rd home run of the entire year.
I definitely got some stuff to get back at him now with a pitch hit freshman hitting a home run off of him. But at least mine was a first rounder.
I guess you know they love you when they rag on you.
Oh, and especially pitchers. They have so much downtime. Joshua Fields, the closer of the year for the NCAA. First-round draft pick, Seattle Mariners. Home run to a freshman. 4 runs in a non-close situation. They squeak it out against Stanford, 10-8.
I really like Dave Perno's scouting report. He says when he comes in a non-close situation, he pitches like crap. And it is a different mindset. I mean, he's 17 for 17.
But you see that with
in save situations.
Yeah, you see that with a lot of closers. One more save for him, and he'll tie the NCAA record for this year.
Amati will lead it off, chopped down to 3rd. And the throw gets away, but Amati will stay at 1st. Tough play down there for Ryan Pizell. Check in with Aaron.
Well, Ryan Pizell, a huge leader on this Georgia team. He was telling us the story this afternoon about it, how 12:45 this morning, he's laying in bed, he couldn't sleep, thinking about this big game tonight, and he decided to text his head coach, Dave Perno, and just said, look, everyone keeps talking about winning a national championship, but we want everyone to be on the same page. So he and coach started going back and forth about, look, even if we win, we still have to play tomorrow night. So let's just concentrate on the fact it's not over tonight. You know you're in good hands when you've got a guy like Ryan Pizell texting with his coach about his concerns about everybody, working together.
All right, thanks, Aaron. And the ruling on that, I think a good one, an infield single for Amati. And now Tommy Mendonça, a sophomore from Turlock, California, stands in. Skied to deep center, but not deep enough. Cerrone about 3 steps shy of the track, and he's got a good arm and gets it back in a hurry. So 1 out, 1 on here in the top of the 2nd inning. Didn't join us at the start. This is Cinderella against the national seed, Fresno State, the lowest seeded NCAA team in any sport ever to reach a championship round. Georgia seeded at the top of their region, number 8 in the country, and the only seeded team obviously left here with a chance for a national championship in Omaha. Fastball in there to Overland, a 294 hitter. He's a senior.
Graduated in 4 years from that communications degree. Gap-to-gap power, sometimes pull power. Right here, he might try and use that hole over there at first base.
He's had some big RBIs this year, even though he has only driven in 22. Got a lot of clutch guys on this club that don't have flashy numbers, but they have hit at the right time. And here in Omaha, he is 4 for 12 with a home run and 1 driven in. Hit and run. This one's chopped towards second base. Tom's Chargers has only played a first. And Amati advances to second. Trying to get something going with a running game.
Well, Ryan Overland does a good job on this hit and run. That ball's a good foot outside. He actually pulls it, kind of flips it over. If he'd have gone with it, you see the Georgia Gordon Beckham at shortstop was covering. He could have flipped that ball maybe to left field, but good job making the contact, getting the runner in scoring position.
Now Detweiler, who is playing with a torn ligament in his thumb, and when he swings and misses, it just eats him alive. And the reason he's playing is he's going to have surgery anyway, and they told him, you can have it after the season. It's just going to hurt. It's really not going to make it a whole lot worse. The surgery will be a little more complicated, but you're not going to do any more real damage.
You saw his major pre-psychology. He's a little psycho to be playing with it.
I was the psychology major. They're all crazy.
He made a diving catch the other day. It was against Rice, I think, and he came up, and it was a good 2 or 3 outs later by the time the pain went away. We kept taking shots of him out there, and he kept shaking it out and pulling on it, just trying to find a way to get it to go away.
Mike Batesel says he just keeps running into stuff. That one is fisted back on the grass, and Toms drifts back to make the catch. So we'll go to the bottom of the second. Still 1-0 Georgia from Omaha and the College World Series. Everybody loves Cinderella stories. One of the best, the Jets under Joe Namath, who beat the Baltimore Colts in 1968. The 69 Mets, the Miracle Mets, and miracles they were, knocked off the Orioles in the World Series. Miracles, 1980, Team USA hockey over the Russians. 1985, Villanova did the impossible. An 8 seed, the lowest ever to win the NCAA tournament. They knocked off Georgetown, led by Patrick Ewing. Remember watching that game saying, if Villanova misses another shot, they can't win. And they didn't miss another shot. It was just all of them were unbelievable. Here are the lowest seeded teams to win a championship. Oregon State here. They were a 3 regional seed, but Fresno State would top that. They were a 4 regional seed, which means they were the lowest seeded teams in the game. Underdogs outside the food tent. Well, that's a good place to be. Cerrone lifts it to left, deep and drifting, but the catch made at the warning track. Cerrone's bid falls just short, and Susdorf just kept drifting back until he had no more room. Kyle Peterson is with us tonight. Kyle, great to see you, pal.
Mike, good to see you too, buddy. You know, one of the things that I think gets overlooked with this Fresno State team is the fact that their best arm isn't here. Tanner Shepard, who was going to be one of the top 5 picks in the overall draft this year, injured his shoulder in early May, so he has not been here. Has been to Omaha for a couple days and flew back to Fresno State, but was still taken in the second round by the Pittsburgh Pirates, a kid that was WAC pitcher of the year. Fastball that get up to 97, 98 miles an hour. And for this club that's battling so much in the mound right now, it would have been a giant boost to have a guy like Shepard as part of this pitching staff.
Says a lot about him that he's got a fractured pitching shoulder and still taken in the second round. This one hit wide of third, speared by Mendoza. What a play. Well, they said this kid had major league skills at third base.
Mendoza down there, he looks pretty good. He reminds me of Tim Wallach. Guy who really gets scrappy down there with a good arm. Think of Alex Rodriguez of the Yankees, ranging to his left like a shortstop, a third baseman with shortstop range.
Sort of pushes that ball out on his throw, but he certainly has some range.
I would bet there's more arm there. He just went with the short release to get it up on the dive.
So Lewis is gone, 2 out quickly, and they are really going after Bonesteel early in the count. I mean, going after the first or second pitch, figuring he's going to pound the strike zone might be the best thing you're going to see during an at-bat.
Now, when you're facing a guy that possibly has a tired arm and a tired pitching staff, you want to work the count. You want to get to the underbelly of the pitching staff, but it's almost like Fresno State has started the underbelly. We don't want to get on Bonesteel and Sean, you know, in a bad way, but we just have to alert the audience that you are not looking at their #1 starter. Even the guy who pitched yesterday, Clayton Allison, had not picked up a ball for 2 weeks because of shoulder tendonitis.
Chop towards short. Muno across. 1, 2, 3 in the second inning. Hand it to Bonesteel. He has pitched well, and in that inning threw only 8 pitches to retire the side. Georgia's going to take the lead. Holy cow, what a turn of events. Matt Cerrone comes through in the clutch with a ringing single to center. And the Georgia Bulldogs take the lead 4-3. Lifts this one to right. Oh, it's gone. Georgia can breathe easier. They have gone 3-0. They will go on now in the championship final. 1, 2, 3, go! Let's go! That's the way this group of Bulldogs has gotten here. 3-0, well rested, ready to play, and a favorite over Fresno State. But Fresno State has seen that all year long. This ball is hit deep. Rivera, a guy hitting 198 on the season with 4 home runs, launches on the first pitch. He's got a golf grip with a baseball bat. And he just took a driver over the dogleg into the stands. Are you kidding me? The #9 hitter opposite way with a bomb to tie it.
Before this pitch, 7 home runs from 6 players. Now there's 2 that have 2. Rivera and Mendoncina. I'm telling you what, these guys, you get it from everywhere.
2 home runs, 7 RBIs.
Ball.
Back to the top of the order. Muno. Well, what a lift. I think Bonesteel getting the order 1, 2, 3 in the bottom of the Georgia second. Then you come up here, and a guy like Rivera, and this one is smashed right back at the pitcher, throws him out. And we'll have to check on Holder. Ball was crushed.
Rivera and Mendoza, they hit the home runs, and I'll tell you what, now this young man at the top of the order, he ground out his first at bat, probably 9, 10 pitches. Now he picks on a first pitch fastball, drives it right back up the middle at Trevor Holder. He takes it off the right shin or foot. Oh. He does a good job staying right there with it. Oh, maybe the back left foot, left cleat. What's he rubbing?
Well, you could hear it crack against something.
Oh, hit the left shin. Right shin. I'll tell you what, if you're a right-handed pitcher and you're going to have leg problems, you want it to be with your back leg. You don't want it the one you land on. Their back leg can stiffen up a little bit. You can even hobble you sometimes, but Georgia's pitching staff's very well rested. You don't want this young man out of the game, but it's going to happen to one club or the other.
Yeah.
Fresno State cannot take anything.
It has been the strength of their ball club, their Very deep pitching. The bullpen has been sensational, except for one bad game when it really didn't hurt them.
Just a fastball right down the middle.
Got him on the lower leg. It was right at his knee. If he doesn't hop, he gets it there. And they'll give him, you have 10 minutes to get medical attention before you have to decide whether you take anybody out. If you have a pitcher hurt, the kid who would come in to replace them will have all the time he wants to warm up. And now I think Holder will get some tosses to see if he can do this.
That's number 42, Steven Dodson there, loosening up his shoulder, thinking it might be his turn.
Boy, getting razzed for some people in the stand.
I was just about to say, I can't believe.
Hey, let's rub a little dirt
somebody
on it. That's tough.
Yeah. And Dodson's the guy who goes down to the bullpen. So he had an idea he was the long man.
He gets shellacked on a one hopper, and people in the stands going, come on, you're holding up the game. Tough crowd.
Yeah. It looks like he's trying to get some feeling back in the leg, like it got a nerve or something.
Well, it's pretty easy for something to go numb. That's the lucky part. Then the numbness starts wearing off and it hurts like the dickens. They'll give him plenty of time to decide whether he's all right. And he is certainly coming off the hill gingerly with his follow through.
Well, the one thing that makes it feel better is the fact that he got the guy out.
Yes.
It always feels worse after defeat or a home run or something. It feels a little better when something positive happened when you get it hurt.
And you can tell on that second step when his right foot comes down, he's not too happy with it.
No.
And of course, unless you're Tiger Woods and can ignore pain, you can change your delivery to try to protect yourself and do even more damage.
Exactly. He's getting more aggressive with all the different test movements, so I think he's getting better. Getting a little more confidence in the leg.
Well, if you joined us late, Fresno State has already come from behind here in the third to tie it as the number 9 man in the order, Jordan Rivera, a 198 hitter, goes deep to the opposite field. It's an unexpected surprise for the Bulldogs of Fresno State.
You know, the amazing thing about Rivera and that home run is the way he grips the bat on the top hand, and they were going to, if he continued to struggle, they were going to get ready to change him. And anybody's hitting below the Mendoza line, I'd be getting ready to change him a lot sooner. He comes through with a home run.
We didn't even have a chance to show you the grip, and he was already hitting 300.
We're going to show it right now. Look at the grip right there, the thumb up like he's holding a golf club. On the bottom hand of hitting is usually the power hand. The top hand is the accuracy hand, and he's got his accuracy hand almost off the bat. I think that would equate to a 188 average. If that young man's got a lot of ability, he gets something squared away mechanically, you never know what's going to happen.
He's already hit 2 bombs here in Omaha, and Trevor Holder's going to hang in there and try to keep it going. He'll face Gavin Hedstrom as his first hitter after taking one off the shin. So 1 out and nobody on. We're in the Fresno State 3rd inning. Hedstrom struck out his first time up, and both lineups are going after first pitches from the opposing pitchers. Again, this one's chopped to third. Pizell, who has shown us some pretty good leather down to third throughout this series, throws him out. 2 gone. Now Eric Wetzel, who grounded to Pizell his first time up. Freshman All-American and All-WAC for 2 years. a junior out of Chino, California, and was a draft choice of the Rockies in the 13th round a couple of weeks ago. 474 coming into this game in the College World Series. Was 9 for 19. Now he's 9 for 20.
Another converted shortstop. Played outstanding second base for the Fresno State Bulldogs.
No.
Shows bunt, takes it low.
This is the engine of their team. He's the guy, you know, when somebody says this is our toughest guy and you play for the Fresno State Bulldogs, that's a tough guy.
Toughest of the tough.
Because this whole team is tough.
Oh.
This whole team is a bunch of gamers, and, you know, you almost want to say it's like the Bad News Bears winning a championship. I mean, that's how far they've come. They don't play that way, but they're just dirt dogs. They're gamers, or whatever word you want to put or phrase you want to put on people that grind it out.
It's one of the great stories in college baseball ever, actually. And they have run the gauntlet. They had the toughest regional. They had to beat Long Beach State, the 19th ranked team in the country. Number 9 San Diego had to beat them twice, and then arguably went to the toughest super regional, where they had to beat 4th ranked Arizona State twice on their home field. And then they come to the College World Series, beat an old WAC rival in Rice. They've been on the road for 39 days, and Mike Batesel has them cruising. They just keep winning.
A couple guys from my generation that came out of this university, they're gamers like these guys. Dan Gladden, Terry Pendleton, big league gamers. They came from Fresno State.
Swing and a miss. But Rivera puts Fresno State on the board with a home run to lead it off. The number 9 man, a 198 hitter, going opposite field, tying it at 1 at the College World Series.
The Fresno State Diamond Dogs are headed to the College World Series.
The Fresno State Bulldogs beat Rice 17-5.
Garrett Gore down to third. Mendoza, they turn 2. They're on to the finals. They've done it. The underdogs truly are wonder dogs.
Enjoying the dulcet tones of Sean McDonough and Barry Larkin, who were out here with us for 10 days, did a great job. Our thanks to them. Go to the bottom of the third, 1-1. A really good ball game. A shot, Mendoza shows you his reaction time. When they say he's got major league skills at third, we've already seen it in this game. To his left in the dirt, comes up, throws him out now to his right, and spears a shot off the bat of David Toms.
Well, he's in looking for a possible bunt. See, he's 6-8 feet inside the third base bag. Look at this. And a nice spear.
Isn't that
Pitchers
beautiful?
love the defense. How's that? Nice play. Little wry smile to your third baseman.
Well, that's do or don't. And he did. That is a web gem. David Toms bid for a double, denied by Mendoza down at third. He dislocated 4 fingers on one hand at the start of the regionals and still played. So everything that he does down there is going to hurt him. This one is popped back. And dislocation of anything is one of the more painful injuries you can suffer. They'll go back, but they're not happy about it. Holder still trying to walk off that shot he had. They don't have an ice bag on it, so it looks like he may be all right. This one a screamer to left, right at Susdorf as he got back to the track. And Aaron has more on Holder. Aaron?
Mike, Trevor Holder was just in the dugout walking up and down trying to loosen up that right shin. I talked to head coach David Perno about it. Said it got him right by the muscle as well. And Trevor Holder said he's fine. He did go back into the clubhouse and get it pressure wrapped a bit. But Coach Perno told me they are going to keep an eye on him. The key is to watch if that shin stiffens up. But so far they feel like he's had good command on the ball. And after he got injured, he threw a couple of good pitches according to Coach Perno. So they're just still going to keep an eye on him.
All right, thanks very much, Aaron. 7 of the first 9 Georgia batters have either hit the first or second pitch. And Bonesteel has had some balls really smoked off of him, but he has only given up the 1 run. This one's hit off the end of the bat. Susdorf coming on, makes the catch and left. Boy, Fresno State has a bounce in every step they take right now. These guys, no matter how tired their pitching staff is, they think they can win it all. Cinderella tied with Georgia 1-1. Welcome back to the NCAA College World Series presented on ESPN by Dick's Sporting Goods. And we are at beautiful Rosenblatt Stadium in Omaha, Nebraska. And we have a great game to start off the best 2 out of 3 for a national championship here in the College World Series Finals. Both teams going after the first pitch. This one deep to left at the wall and caught. Another bid for an opposite field home run, and Lyle Allen went right up to the yellow line and pulled it down off the bat of Susdorf.
Steve Susdorf trying to hit from the 4th hole. Lyle Allen goes back and robs the WAC Player of the Year of extra bases. I think it's below the yellow line. No, it might be right there. Might have just hit the top. And pitchers have enjoyed good defense in the last inning or so.
And good fortune as well. So Susdorf 0 for 2, and Amati will stand in. He had a base hit his first time up and is now hitting .388, 90 driven in this year, which is number 2 in the nation. He needs 5 more for a single season record for Fresno State and 7 more to claim the national RBI title. Goes after a high fastball out of the zone, pops it up on the infield. Beckham, the All-American shortstop, calls for it and makes the catch. 2 gone. Wednesday Night Baseball presented by Goodyear as part of the ALNL Showdown presented by State Farm is on ESPN2 at 7 Eastern. The Diamondbacks wrap up a 3-game series at Fenway against the Red Sox. Catch baseball tonight presented by CDW at 10 Eastern. It'll be Randy Johnson against Tim Wakefield. How about that for a contrast in styles?
Yeah, I'd say so.
95 against 70.
Well, they're alike in one way, up there in the 40s in age. Right-handed, left-handed knuckleball, fastball, slider. Yeah.
Mendonça stands in with 2 outs. We have already seen some leather from him at third. This kid is a tremendous offensive talent as well.
I can understand fielding maybe with some dislocated fingers, but hitting with dislocated fingers? I just can't imagine. You got to have strength in your hands to take that hip turn and shoulder turn and impart that into the ball through the bat.
Sophomore with 17 home runs. Got off to a terrible start with a bat in his hand this year. Just struck out about half the time and really has a hideous walk to strikeout ratio. Only 18 bases on balls as opposed to 95 strikeouts. Next year, if he can cut down on those, he can get his average up to about 330 just by putting the ball in play a little bit. Doesn't have to worry about his defensive skills. He's already got those. Laid off a fastball, and Trevor Holder wanted that call on 2-2. You don't want to show too much reaction to that home plate umpire, or you're not going to get the ones you want later.
It's not a good way to build a relationship.
No. This one hit down to first. Poitras will take it himself. 1-2-3, a long fly ball to the wall, but that's it. We played 3 1/2. We're tied at 1. Welcome back to Omaha, Nebraska for the College World Series. We played 3 1/2. Both teams with 1 run and 2 hits, and Sean Bonesteel's night is over. The sophomore from Santa Clara, California, gave them what they wanted. 3 innings. Only went 2 over the minimum. Was hit hard the last inning and got out of it. And now Jake Flothy, a freshman from Lafayette, California, with an 8.51 ERA, will make his first College World Series appearance. So we've got the nerves jangling everywhere. And for more on this move, let's go to Kyle Peterson. What do you have, Kyle?
Well, I just talked to Mike Bateson, and he said, you know what? We got exactly what we wanted. We got 3 innings. Now we'll piece it together from this point forward. When they talked about Flothy today, they said, you know what? This is a kid that we think is going to be really good by the time he's done at Fresno State. Nice loose arm action. He's a freshman, so he struggled at times, but they really like his stuff. When I asked Bateson what they were going to do the rest of the game, how they were going to piece it together, he held his hands up there, started shaking his head, and said, I don't know. Talk to me next inning.
Well, it's worked. You know, we've had head coaches out here before, Kyle, when we've interviewed them in our meetings and asked them, you know, what are your pitching plans? Oh, I don't know. You know, and they were just sort of trying to hide some stuff from us, but that's not the situation here. He really doesn't know. He's grasping at straws, trying to find guys who can go 2 or 3 innings because of all the tired arms, but it's worked out beautifully at the start. And he's got to face the All-American 400 hitting Gordon Beckham to start it. You don't think the butterflies are flying in unison right now?
You got to have butterflies. You just got to make them fly in order.
Fastball hammered to dead center, but Cerrone back to the track. And Georgia hitting line drive atom ball so far. All you can do as a hitter is hit it hard and hope it falls in.
And Gordon Beckham has had some fantastic at-bats here at the College World Series.
Doesn't get any easier with Poitras, because he has been on fire out here. Now 6 for 12, hitting .500 in the College World Series. You've got to have at least one guy who was on fire out here to have a chance to win. And this time hammers it at short, booted, has time, makes the throw, and got him. That's what you like in a shortstop. The guy with the clock in his head. Muno booted the ball but knew who was running, and he had time and he used it.
Pitched by a freshman, hit to a freshman that keeps his composure and throws it over there. Danny Muno with average tools, average hands, average arm, but he does have a feel for the game, and they think he's going to be outstanding. Already hitting over .330.
I'll take him.
Oh, he's done outstanding.
Massaneri here in the 4th with 2 out, nobody on, and this has been a crisply pitched and crisply played ball game. Massaneri at .335, grounded to second, his first time up. And that one skips up there about a foot shy of the plate, and catcher Ryan Overland. There's Lauren, his wife. Don't know where the baby is tonight. It's baby. Oh,
it's right there.
We're guessing.
With Grandma.
Wide of third, and even Mendonça can't get to this one, and it's a base hit for Massaneri. Aaron Andrews and Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha, the world's greatest, smartest investor. They are coming up next. I'd like to have one share of Berkshire Hathaway, just one. I'm not proud.
I've never been to one of the board meetings, but I definitely shook his hand when we were out in the hallway, and I passed him and said thank you.
His investment philosophy, part of it has always been you invest in what you understand. That's not bad. Doesn't help me because I don't understand anything.
But let him understand it for you.
Understand it for you. Cerrone, who struck out 5 times the other night, and they're still searching for a name for that one. And baseball players will find it. Had a fly out to left. And one thing he has done at times is let himself get down after making a couple of outs early. He is a far different player if he gets a base hit early in the ball game. That one's in the dirt.
Yeah, his fly out to left was a great thing just to make contact after the 5 strikeouts in the last game.
And he was not getting good hacks during that 5 strikeout stretch.
Missing the ball by a lot.
And really pulling off of it. Checks his swing on that one. An 88-mile-an-hour fastball. It's 3-1.
Well, Jake Floethe needs to throw some strikes and try and get his team in the dugout with an over 8 ERA.
Yes.
You've probably had some rallies that started with 2 outs and nobody on, and that base hit, and then a little stumbling pitch, and then a fall behind in the count. 3-1. Got a chance to get out of the inning here with this 3-2 pitch.
He has not been a mystery to the hitters he's faced this year. They're hitting .333 against him. 36 hits in just over 24 innings pitched.
Well, you come out of high school and you have the great body that has a lot of potential. You got the live arm, but zoning in the command and the control for the next level.
Lost him. So a single and a base on balls after 2 are out. Massaneri goes to second. Cerrone on at first for Joey Lewis, who grounded out his first time. And Fresno with Tomlinson up and heating. They've got a lot of guys on the pitching staff that they haven't used, and they're just trying to piece it together.
Well, anybody with a 6.5 ERA or under is tired and can't be used.
Yep.
These are all going to be the young guys that they're developing, the guys that are rested. Yesterday's starter that I hadn't pitched in 2 weeks because of shoulder tendonitis. They didn't even know when he's warming up for the game if he's been able to go.
Yeah, and he's probably done now for the
Clayton
series.
Allison, yeah.
And all Mike Batesel wants is somebody who can come in and throw strikes and hopefully get an atom ball.
You might think, why are they picking off at second base? Well, 2 outs and a slow runner. You keep him close, and even on a base hit, which when you have a pitcher on the mound with a .333 average against, you might get. You got a chance of getting the runner at the plate.
Freshman against sophomore, and Overland has to backhand that one to keep it from going to the backstop. There is Allison, who had not thrown a baseball even on the side in 2 weeks because of shoulder tendonitis, and he was terrific last night.
He was 10-5 last year, 3-5 coming into that outing yesterday.
2-0 to Lewis. Breaking ball that didn't break much, hung up in the zone, and it was fouled off. Well, that's one you throw Bulldog and you say, oh no.
Well, you kind of get away with it because a 2-0 count, hitters in a fastball count. And one of the toughest pitches, if you ask hitters to hit, is a backup slider, because it has that slider spin. They recognize that it's going to go left, and then it backs up and goes right.
2 left-handers coming up in the order. This could be his last hitter. This one grounded to right. Detweiler will come up throwing. He's got a big arm. The play at the plate. Got in there. Boom! Massaneri with a great head-first slide. Stuck the hand in there. Detweiler with a gun in right field made a perfect throw to make it close.
So we talked about why Fresno State Bulldogs picked off at second to cut down on that lead, and they got that hard hit ball to a big arm in right field with Detweiler. He makes a nice, strong, accurate throw. It just loses a little bit of velocity. Ryan Overland's got to go out and reach for it, and it's a very close play at the plate. Let's take a look. I think he got it in there just by a pinky.
By an inch.
Yep. Yep.
Well, what a throw by Detweiler.
The reach of the tag is there in time, but the tag is not there in time.
Yep. And Tomlinson is in the bullpen as they have reached Flothi for 2 singles and a walk in the last 3, and Tomlinson is coming on. Got a pitching change, and we'll go up to Erin Andrews and a very special guest. Erin?
That's right, Mike. I'm here right now with Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha. Of course, you told me you were born in Washington, D.C.
Born in Omaha.
Oh, born in Omaha, but spent a lot of time in Washington, D.C. Your dad was in Congress, but basically have been here your entire life. What does this city mean to you, this town?
It's home. I live in the same house I've lived in for 50 years. I'm in the same office building I've been for 46 years. My kids went to the same high school that my dad went to, my wife went to, their kids went to it. So it's home.
And you're a huge baseball fan. Mike Patrick will like to hear this. Big Cardinals fan, although your first game you saw was a Chicago Cubs game. You use baseball a lot when you talk business. Why do you do that?
I do it because people can understand what you're talking about. When I will tell people that investing is like baseball in the sense that the most important thing is waiting for the right pitch. Ted Williams wrote that in The Science of Hitting. And, you know, he said I'd bat 400 if I just hit the balls in my sweet spot. But if I had to hit bad balls, I'd hit 230. In investing, you got to wait for the right pitch. And the beauty of it is there's no called strike. So you can stand there and they can throw General Motors at 16. They can throw IBM at 80. They can throw Microsoft at 28. And you don't have to swing and there'll be no called strike. So you wait for just the right pitch and then you give it a big cut.
Well, obviously I don't have the money of LeBron James, who flew into town to come talk to you, Alex Rodriguez, who you help. But let's just pretend. Let's live in fantasy land and say I do have that money. What kind of advice are you giving these guys?
Well, the interesting thing is the ones that come to me for advice are usually pretty smart guys themselves. So if you talk about an Alex Rodriguez or you talk about a LeBron James, those guys are smart financially. And when they come, they tell me what they're doing, and usually I agree with what they're doing. I mean, I have very little advice to offer them, but there's probably a little reassurance they get in the fact that they run it by me.
Absolutely. You're sitting over in a suite with Nolan Ryan. You love to come out to Rosenblatt. Any favorite College World Series moment you've had throughout the years?
Well, the very first College World Series I went to, I remember Dick Sisler was playing, and of course that was a big thing to me because I remembered reading about George Sisler, his father. So I've watched the College World Series over the years. There's a love affair between Omaha and the College World Series.
There certainly is. Well, thank you so much for the tips. And I got to thank you. My girlfriend, Bonnie Riley, and I visited your jewelry store, Borsheims. We had a blast. Thank you for that.
We'll send a cab for you next time.
Send a cab. Can you send over a few boxes with those great gray boxes? More rings, bling, bling.
Your credit's good.
We hope. Not after that visit. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Aaron, thank you very much. And Mr. Buffett, thank you. Well, he says investing is like baseball. I'm in a slump. Don't know about you. We've played 4 in Omaha. 2-1 Georgia.
We haven't been to the World Series in a long time, and I mean, I'm sure a lot of people didn't put much on us in the beginning of the regionals.
We're the underdogs, the wonder dogs, you know, all those names, Cinderella. Makes it that much sweeter when you beat a good team. I mean, they don't expect you to win. We made it this far, why not keep going, you know? Don't want to leave Omaha, we love it here.
How remarkable is this run? They're the lowest seeded team ever to make the College World Series. And if you're the 4th seed in the regional, that means you're last. I mean, 4 is nice, but when there's only 4 teams, you're last. They are also the lowest seeded team ever to make the championship round in the NCAA of any sport ever.
Ball.
And here they are, the start of a best 2 out of 3. They're only down 2-1. And they're pitching by committee because they played so many games out here and burned up their pitching staff. But that's what you have to do. You got to get here before you have a chance to win. So they've gotten here and they're trying to scratch through with the pitching staff, and they have certainly shown not the kind of nerves you would expect from a team that's a big underdog.
No, in their very first game against Rice, they got 4 runs against Ryan Berry in the 2nd inning, and that was the moment they really started to believe as a team. They were up 4-0 to Rice early in their first game here in Omaha, and they said, you know what, we might be able to do something here. It's not going to be 1-2 and a barbecue, as Steve Sussdorf out in left field heard from the bleachers, and a lot of fans were yelling at him.
Trevor Holder in his 5th inning of work gets a fastball in there to Ryan Overland, who hit into a fielder's choice his first time up. It's 1-2. Mike Batesel said one of the first thing he heard coming out here was, don't worry about Fresno State. They'll be on an airplane by Wednesday. Well, that was last week.
Well, now there's only one team to worry about. That's Georgia for Fresno State.
And Georgia has taken the opposite path. They are undefeated. Their pitching is set. They are, if anything, over-rested.
When you have to use your closer in a blowout to get him some work, and he gives up 4 runs, and he's the NCAA closer of the year, Joshua Fields, you know the team's a little rusty from the pitching side. And I thought the bats would be cold against Stanford in the 2nd game, and they came out and got the most runs they've gotten in the 3 games of their 3-0. They got 10 runs.
3-2 to Overland. Senior fouls 1 out of play. Well, they've already gotten a break. Jordan Rivera, who will be the 3rd hitter this inning. He's the number 9 man in the order. Gave him a gift run with a homer. So they're only down 1.
A gift run only because he's hitting under 200.
Yeah.
But that's his second home run. That's his second home run here at the College World Series.
Yes, it is.
With a golf grip.
Lost him. So Overland with a good at bat gets a base on balls. The NCAA College World Series presented on ESPN by Dick's Sporting Goods on ESPN tomorrow at 7 Eastern live from Omaha. Fresno State against the number 8 seed Georgia in game 2 of the finals. We invite you to join us for that. Of course, it is the best 2 out of 3. Wednesday night, same time, same station if necessary. Overland at first. Detweiler stands in. Popped up his first time out. Pizell in on the grass at 3rd. That one was up and in self-defense. He bunted it foul. And that's what you try to do, make it tough on guys to bunt. A lot of times you'll see that one exactly what happened. The ball popped up in the air. How far did you want to try to come in on guys, or did you just lay it in there and say, you want to give me an out? I'll take it.
No, there was some strategy to this sometimes. You know, when you really didn't want the guy to sacrifice, you try and make a tough pitch on him, especially early in the count.
Swings and drives it deep. That thing is gone by a mile. Steve Detweiler, the number 8 hitter, with his 10th home run of the year. And how often do you see it? Yeah, I'm up there to sacrifice. Whoops, I couldn't do it. What'll I do next? I'll hit a bomb and give my team the lead. This is the guy with no ligament in his thumb. It hurts when he misses. That one didn't hurt at all.
And now the 7th guy on this team that has a home run here at this College World Series. It's another one. We get the 8th guy. We got an octopus. We got a tentacle of the octopus, but I guess we can call the whole pitching staff the 8th tentacle.
A 2-run shot, and now Rivera, who hit the first home run, the number 9 man in the order, who was hitting under 200, had his 2nd home run here in Omaha, and now they want to come out and talk as Brady Wiederhold is going to counsel Holder. Nobody was warming up, so they're going to need some time to get somebody ready. And Kyle Peterson, what do you have on Detweiler? What a bomb.
What a bomb, and what a story, too. We talked with Mike Batesville earlier this week when Detweiler was really struggling. Struck out a couple times during the game, then tried to lay a bunt down because that thumb was bothering him so bad. We asked him, is there any thought to take Detweiler out? He said, no way. And this guy has played through this the entire year, and for us to take him out at this point of the year, there's no chance that I would do it to him. Guys, this surgery, when he gets done with the end of the year, is real similar to Tommy John. They're going to take a ligament out of his forearm, transplant that in to where the ligament used to be in his thumb. And it's a surgery where the recovery time will be somewhere between 6 and 9 months. But Mike Batesville said, I just got a feeling. I got a feeling he's going to do something for us. I know a lot of swings don't look good, but when he gets it, it can go.
Well, he got it. That was a no-doubter. Lyle Allen, the left fielder, took one step back and didn't bother after that.
It was unbelievable. We got dislocated fingers at third base. We got a torn up thumb in right field.
Your best pitcher isn't even here.
The guy who wins for him last night hadn't thrown a ball in 2 weeks because of shoulder tendonitis. Warms up. They don't even know if he can go, and he wins the game.
I mean, this is a script like for a bad movie of the week.
It's like Kirk Gibson in '88 for our Dodger underdog team. Gets one at bat in the World Series, and it's a home run to win game 1.
And gimps his way around. Yeah. Here's Rivera with the golf grip.
Well, you wonder why, you know, he's going the opposite way. He's got no top hand.
Thumb straight up the shaft of the bat. I'm surprised you don't see that the first time as a hitting coach. You go, no, no, no. We're not doing that. Chop towards second. Toms will throw him out.
That's an out.
One gone. I think the crowd is stunned by the turn of events. These guys just refuse to believe that they're Cinderella or underdogs. And it may be easier to believe in baseball. It is such a competitive game.
And I think the fans are looking for who to cheer for, too. It's a lot of locals in the crowd now because we're not on a weekend anymore. A lot of people had to go back to work, but great support here in Omaha.
Mark Richt, the Georgia football coach, in attendance tonight. What a great program he's had. Of course, baseball does not get the love that football programs or basketball programs can get. Certainly don't have the scholarship money. Normally they don't have the facilities.
I'm sure he flew nonstop. I know the Georgia baseball team didn't fly nonstop to get here.
No, they didn't.
They had a hop, skip, and a jump. I don't think it was a prop plane, but it was close.
It was a prop out of Athens.
Was it really? Little commuter. If they could take a national title home, maybe they'll fly a little better next year.
Would like to think so.
I'll tell you what, Dave Perno, I think he's like 10th. He's down in the bottom of the SEC as far as salaries, and there are some people, there's rumors around going that people might want to pull him away. I know he's got a 3-year deal, but he's going to be a big-time quantity what he's done with this Georgia club.
Oh, absolutely. This is the third time he's had him back to the College World Series. He's a terrific guy. He's a delight to be around.
It's kind of a doormat.
Well, that wasn't their plane, but you get the idea.
They didn't have to pull a message behind their plane,
no.
I think.
But certainly, it's hard to imagine a guy that gets his team to the College World Series 3 years in a row is in the bottom half of the SEC in salary. They might want to do something about that.
Well, you know, the same thing happened to Pat Casey when the last 2 years they're not here. This year they won it in Oregon State the last 2 years, and Pat Casey's contract got changed in a hurry.
Heisel, nice job behind third, and a nice pick at first by Poitras. Boy, Heisel has had a great College World Series, both in the field and at the plate. But the big home run by Steve Detweiler to bomb to left. And look at this, Fresno State on top, 3-2. They could be selling Coke Zero because it's time for our Coke Zero game track. Fresno State, 3 runs, 3 hits. They've all come on home runs. Rivera and Detweiler. Poitras has driven in a run. No surprise there for Georgia. And we go to the bottom of the 5th. Chris Tomlinson, the left-hander out of Visalia, California, is on for his 2nd inning of work. And now he has the lead. And gets the strike up there to David Toms. Then we'll turn the order over and go back to Pizell and Olson as the scheduled hitters here in the 5th. Toms lined out to 3rd with a spectacular play by Mendonça. Tomlinson, 6.75 ERA, but he is 2-1. And this is his 3rd appearance in the College World Series. He's gone 1 1/3 innings, now 1 2/3, and has not allowed a base hit.
That's an out.
To keep up with all of the NCAA College World Series information, log on to NCAA.com. It's the official online home for all 88 NCAA championships. And speaking of championships, the only one Fresno State has ever won as a program, the 1998 women's softball team. So this would be number 2. And how sweet would this be, coming in as the lowest seeded team ever to go to Omaha?
Don't let Chris Tomlinson's ERA fool you. 18 2/3, 25 strikeouts. Look
at
at
it only
those
takes, yeah, the comparison, 27-1 in national championships. Well, they could cut the disparity in half in the next 3 nights. But you know as well as anybody, you know, if you're a pitcher and you have limited innings thrown, and what he has pitched 18 innings, 1 bad inning and your ERA is sky high, and it takes a lot to work it back down. Obviously, he's got some skill. This one is chopped. Nice pick by the shortstop, Muno. Charged that ball well, and even though he bobbled it, because he charged it, he had a shorter throw and he had time.
Well, he's mastering the bobble. He had a ball to his right that he bobbled. Now he's got one in front. He bobbled it, but boy, he's the poise to stay with that and not give up.
And that takes soft hands.
Oh, soft hands, but it typifies just a gamer. I'm going to gut this out. There's, you know, it's a miscue, but there's no panic. He continues to play the game.
If you bobble a ball like that, the one thing you can't do is fight it afterwards. You have to take it nice and easy, soft hands, expect to come out with it, and he did.
That's the way you used to do it.
Yeah. I fought him before it got there. Whoa, look out. That one hit off the facing of the dugout. That'll get you some chatter from in there. As the bat went flying and people went ducking.
I can't believe a Georgia guy would throw a bat, because I've heard that they've busted a few of these Nike bats in BP. So I don't know. They might be trying to get rid of them.
Nobody on for Olson. 2 out from Tomlinson. Olson 1 for 16 in the College World Series. Went 0 for 9, got a base hit. He's gone back in a slump. This one hit on 1 hop to Wetzel at second base. Tomlinson, the second pitcher. And they're putting it together by committee. It's working so far. They're up 2-1. Tomorrow we'll reveal the 2008 Lowe's Senior Class Award. The award celebrates the loyalty of seniors that honor their 4-year commitment to their university. The Senior Class Award recognizes those student athletes for great achievement during competition and in the classroom while staying in school.
Let's go. Okay, we're ready.
Top of the 6th, Fresno State will send Wetzel, Susdorf, and Amati to the plate. Wetzel 0 for 2 against Trevor Holder and takes a called strike, 1-1.
Eric Wetzel hitting .474 in the College World Series. You talk about all the different people that contribute. This 0 for 2 is nothing to sweat when you've been hitting .474.
True. That one's fouled out of play. Now if you're Georgia, what is your mindset in this game? You're behind. You're against a team, if you read the papers, you're the heavy favorite. You know, you're Georgia, you're a national seed. Fresno State is Cinderella.
Yep.
You come out here and say, hey, this is a team we ought to beat. And now you're behind.
I think that the fact that Georgia has had some at-bats where they've really attacked the pitchers and not worked the count, that now that they're behind, they might start to grind out their at-bats. And I think grinding out their at-bats would be a good thing for their offense. This team, not rusty, but hasn't played a lot of games. So the more pitches they see and the more they work the count against these not very good, statistically, Fresno State Bulldog pitchers, I think they're better off they are.
You want them to go deeper and deeper into that bullpen. Cerrone on a fly ball straight away by Wetzel, 1 gone. Let's check in with Aaron Andrews.
Mike, Georgia head coach Dave Perno said so far he's been happy with his pitcher Trevor Holder, despite the fact he gave up a home run in the 5th inning. He said, you know, he thought Steven Detweiler was going to actually bunt. That's why he threw the pitch that he did. It was a bad pitch, but he said if we can get the lead back, we're going to need Holder to protect it. Just to let you guys know, I was watching Holder.
As Suzdorf, Aaron, blasts one to right center. He's around second, looking at the coach at third. He's going to try for 3, and he's getting it in there. Suzdorf hesitated ever so slightly, trying to pick up the sign from his third base coach, and then motored on in there.
I tell you what, he's thinking 2, possibly 3 right out of the box. This ball's in the gap, and he does a great fundamental thing. He picks up his third base coach about 10 strides away from second. And I'll tell you what, Matt Curtis made a good call down there at third base, bringing him around. He held the helicopter until he saw it was safe to come over, and then that windmill started to wave.
And the relay throw skipped short of the shortstop, so they had no chance. Now you've got a runner at third with only 1 out. The 3rd triple of the year for Suzdorf. He leads the club in that department, as well as several others. He has just had a brilliant season. And Amati with a chance to pick him up with only 1 out. Amati already 1 for 2. First team all WAC. Homegrown product out of Fresno. He has 90 runs batted in this year. 90.
He's got 6 here at the College World Series. The only one in front of him is Tommy Mendonça at third base with 7. Mendonça's got more than that now, right? Up to the home run, he's got, you know.
The infield is in. And how much respect is that for the Fresno State pitchers?
Yep. They're thinking that 1 run is very important, not lay back and just allow a 2-run lead. They're not trading outs for runs right here.
The traditional thinking is that raises a hitter's batting average by about 100 points. That means Amati is very close to 400. And he'll go down on the base on balls. And Mendonça will have a chance to star as a hitter. He's 0 for 2.
A big night last night. He's 0 for 2 now, but he was 3 for 4 with 4 RBIs last night. This young man swinging a hot bat.
And power galore.
Left-handed hitter with that hole over there on the right side with the 1st and 3rd situation. See if he tries to use it.
Inside for a ball. Good strike zone by the home plate umpire tonight, Jim Garman. He's been very consistent. Ball and no strikes to Mendonça. Foul. Susdorf down at third after a triple. Amati at first. He walked. And probably a good idea to pitch very carefully to Amati. Anybody that's got 90 RBIs knows how to get somebody home from third. And now they'll take their chances with Mendonça, even with his power, because he is a strikeout candidate. And the double play is back in order.
Stay here.
Ball and 2 strikes to Mendonça, who is a sophomore. Made great strides as a hitter after a horrible start, and has some really eye-popping strikeout numbers. He has fanned 95 times this year. But most of those were in the first half of the season when he really couldn't hit anything. He is a much better hitter now. And got him chase the high fastball out of the zone. Couldn't hold up. And he is the second out of the inning, and that's a big one for Trevor Holder.
Well, this is the kind of swing that got him those 95 strikeouts. Yep. Very indecisive, even with the fact that he decided to swing at it, but you can see there was no real commitment to the swing. A tense bat is an inaccurate bat.
Thank you, Mr. Ex-Pitcher Philosophy.
I'd like hitters to have tension in their swing. Doesn't go as far, and usually doesn't get hit very well.
And this club has struggled with runners on base, as you saw. Overland, who has a walk and a fielder's choice in 2 trips, will have a chance to add to this lead. It's 3-2 Fresno State in the 6th. This is the first in a best 2 out of 3 series for a national title here at the College World Series.
Amati's not going anywhere over there at first base. He's 3 out of 5 in stolen base attempts. He's really, I'm sure those are on the back end of a double steal.
Time call as we have a ball on the field of play out of the bullpen.
And Rich Poitras, the first baseman, is kind of cheating over there at first base, trying to get into his fielding position early. He's not really holding him on as much as he's just loosely holding him on, trying to guard that hole with a man on first with a left-handed hitter up and 2 outs. You see him start to cheat in early.
No balls and a strike to Overland. Fouled off 0-2.
That first and third move, what we saw is really not about a pickoff, but just to keep it in the base runner's mind that we're thinking about you even though we're not really defending you.
And every once in a while, the guy off of first will see the move to third and get a little frisky, take an extra step, and he's meat.
It's probably the #1 thing in baseball that will make a crowd yell balk.
Yeah. 0-2 to Overland. Holder trying to get out of a jam. He's already down by a run. Waste that one on a fastball.
This Georgia pitching staff has done the whole bend and not break the whole College World Series. They are 3-0. They have yet to have a quality start from a starter. There's only been 4 quality starts in the whole College World Series, and 2 of them are by the Fresno State Bulldogs. The Georgia Bulldogs, or Dogs, D-A-W, Dogs, D-A-W-G-S,
Yeah.
I'd like to say.
Yeah.
That's been their bullpen that's really done the bulk of the quality work.
And it is a very talented and very deep bullpen, so you can understand why Dave Perno ends up going to those kids, because if he can get 4 good innings out of a starter, which is not qualifying as a quality start, he goes to that bullpen, and then he's got the closer of the year waiting down there. This one skied into that tough Sunfield in right center, and Cerrone will come on to make the catch for the 3rd out of the inning. Holder leaves 2 aboard and gets out of the inning with no further damage. Will go to the bottom of the 6th, 3-2, and Holder with a big strikeout there that set up the end of the inning.
Nobody wants wants to come out here and do the 2 and a barbecue, that's for sure.
This is my second trip to Omaha. We knew we had a shot to do something special this year.
It's been a completely different trip, I think, out here. I think everybody's just got their focus about them. I don't think anybody wants to go home.
We're here, and hopefully we'll do some good things.
Several of these kids were here only 2 years ago, led by the All-American shortstop Gordon Beckham, who made the last out in the game that they eliminated them, and his coach Dave Perno was immediately by his side saying, shake it off, you're the guy who's going to be leading us out here next time. And he did. And Beckham is a kid with just a wealth of talent. 8th overall pick, recognized by the White Sox in the first round of the Major League Draft. First team All-American, an obvious choice for the SEC Player of the Year. He's got a great attitude. He wants, even though he's going to sign a huge contract in a few days, he wants nothing more than to postpone that as long as possible and win this College World Series. And a new pitcher for Fresno State as they try to piece it together by committee. Another inflated ERA. This one belongs to Jason Breckley out of Moore Park, California. 7.54. He has pitched 22 2/3 innings, given up 28 hits, and opponents are hitting .301 against him. One guy after another as they use people who have had very few innings all year long.
I tell you what, don't look at the resumes, though. The first 4 pitchers, 3 pitchers, 57 pitches in 5 innings.
Take that.
Take that.
And only 2 runs against a hard-hitting Georgia team. Breckley will come on to face the heart of the order. Beckham, Poythress, and Massineri, 3, 4, 5. And you just know they have told every one of these guys, just come in, throw strikes, don't give anything away. We'll see what happens.
A different approach already. Gordon Beckham working
chopped up the middle.
Worked the count to 3-0, got a strike. Got a pitch where he knew a fastball's probably coming. Hits it right back up the middle.
Not trying to do it all by himself. Beckham, who has lined out and popped out, now has his first base hit of the game. And Poythress at 374, the guy who has just killed opposing pitching out here. Looks intimidating, doesn't he?
Yeah. Fresno State knows that Gordon Beckham 17 for 19. We'll see if Dave Perno wants to play small ball or he's just going to attack him with the gorilla ball. It's a little different mentality, this Georgia offense. Now early on they were hacking at the first pitch, a little bit of arrogance as far as we're going to get these guys with bad resumes. Now they need to work the count, get themselves scratch another run out, get this game tied up.
Overland behind the plate is a guy with an average arm. He's a good receiver, blocks well, doesn't have the gun, but if Breckley gives him a chance, he can throw people out. Down to third, nice stab, throw to second. He's on the back. Throw to first, safe. Boy, Mendonça, he's about as slick a fielding third baseman as you're going to see in a College World Series. I mean, nothing that he can reach has gotten by this guy. The throw was a little high.
Great
and
first
Wetzel
step.
couldn't turn it.
That range is from his quick reactions. We saw him get the line drive down the line with reaction time. He's not the fleetest of foot of guy, but the reaction time, the first step as an infielder is huge. He would critique himself on that throw to second. It was a little high. Another one of those kind of push throws. As tough as he is on himself, as good as he wants to be.
So you've gotten more speed off the bases with the fielder's choice and retiring Beckham. And now Massineri with 1 out and 1 on. Massineri with a single and scored back in the 4th. 1 for 2.
Now, this is the time of day when right field is the toughest as far as the sun field. We'll even see it with the runner at first base and the first baseman sometime having to shade their eyes on pickoff throws. The sun's at the perfect height now to really wreak havoc on the right side of the diamond.
This one's chopped. What a pick at third. The throw got him. That's an out. Well, you hit it to Mendoza. Just forget it.
Well,
that's a tough play coming in on the short hop.
He's gone to his left twice. He's gone down the line on a line drive. Now he comes in. Got nice soft hands to keep the glove out there. A little bit of a sweep.
And that wasn't even a short hop. That was verging on the in-between tougher hop.
Yes, it was.
Made it look great. 2 outs, and Poitras goes down to second. Two outs, a runner in scoring position for Cerrone.
It's a big out for the confidence of the whole Fresno State team. Not only their pitching staff, but 2 out men in scoring position. You're running a bunch of guys out there with ERAs over 6. You've got a 1-run lead in the bottom of the 6th. You're just happy to be here, and you'd love to preserve that 1-run lead.
Breckley has been a reliever in this program for 4 years. That one's fouled out of play. He's been in a lot of big games. And this year, this is his 21st appearance, even though he's only thrown 22 2/3 innings coming in. So here's a guy used to coming in pitching about an inning, which we may see him pitch tonight. But this is the biggest inning he's ever going to pitch.
Looks a little bit like David Weathers, reliever, the big leagues.
6'1", 220. This is his second College World Series appearance. First one he threw a third of an inning. Did not give up a hit or a run. And Cerrone 1-1.
A lot of these guys on the Fresno State staff probably pitching the biggest innings of their life.
Certainly.
That are not going to have professional careers or long-term big league careers. These will be memories they will carry for a long, long time.
You betcha. Bonesteel, who was the starter. Let's go to Aaron Andrews. Aaron?
Well, Mike, Matt Cerrone, of course, will want to forget Saturday versus Stanford. 5 straight Ks in that game. He got more and more angry, as you can imagine, as the game wore on. And then finally, after his 5th straight K, I was in the dugout where he kind of went Carlos Zambrano and took his frustrations out on a cooler. Joked around with some of his teammates today who said that, you know, they didn't bother him or heckle him on the bus ride home about it. I talked to Cerrone before the game. He assured me he's in a happier place right now. He said it couldn't get much worse after Saturday. He said he has yet to watch the video, but knows once he does with his parents who have TiVo'd it, he said he is sure he will hear it from his mother.
Oh, even mom and dad are going to get into the act. Oh, I can't wait till you get home, son. We're going to TiVo your 5Ks. Thanks a lot.
And after they watch it, he's going to say, I'm going to Disneyland.
That's Frank Cerrone, his dad.
What can you do after that, though? You got to laugh.
Yeah. This one's fouled out of play. Well, it's easier said than done to go in and have a chuckle over your 5 strikeouts. But that's the thing about baseball. You do something wrong, you have 5 strikeouts in the game, and you're going to hear it even from your teammates. They're going to ride you till it hurts. Grounded up the middle, and Cerrone is going to drive in the tying run. That'll make him feel better. Single up the middle to score Poitras, and we are tied at 3 here in the 6th inning.
Well, he had a big hit on Monday against Stanford that put him ahead. We saw a lot more animation down there at first when he put him ahead, but this one to tie it up, he stays on it, does not swing and miss, gives himself a chance and finds a hole through the infield to tie this game up at 3. And I'll tell you what, he's going to get fired up.
And you bet Frank's going to have that one on TiVo. And now Lewis and Cerrone down at first with good speed. He's stolen 12 out of 14 this year. And now at 3-3, you got a chance to play small ball if you want. Lewis singled his last time up. He's 1 for 2. Sixth inning, 2 out, tie ball game, 3-3. Snap throw to first, not close. So Breckley hoping to get out of the inning with no more damage. Chop back over the mound. The second baseman Wetzel comes in and throws him out.
There you go.
Runner stranded, but Poitras scores, and the big hit by Matt Cerrone, who has gone from GOAT to hero in this one, with a base hit that drives in the tying run. We're tied at 3 after 6 full at the College World Series. Well, what a good ball game it's been. Fresno State and Georgia tied at 3 as we go to the top of the 7th inning. Game 1 of the best 2 out of 3 College World Series finals. That's an infielders club, isn't it?
It's a big one.
That looks like, it obviously can't be, but it looks like it's left.
It'd feel a little heavy,
that guy is enormously strong, or it's not. Trying to bunt for a base hit, pops it up. Peisel will make the catch as Detweiler tried to bunt his way on and got it up in the air. Detweiler, the guy who hit the 2-run homer his last time up.
After failing to sacrifice.
Yes. Tried to cross him over. Third inning, Holder. Well, you could hear how hard that hit Bone on his shin, but he has come back and been tough. He's got a 3-3 tie now in the 7th, and Rivera, golf grip and all, will foul this one out of play. Holder has responded after falling behind. He's given up only 4 hits, but is nearing 100 pitches.
Yeah, versus Miami, you had 4 innings, 4 hits, and had given up 3 runs, 3 earned. That was Miami. Now at least he's gone farther into the game.
That one's in the dirt and skips by Massaneri. 1-1 to Jordan Rivera, who has one of the 3 RBIs tonight with his 5th home run of the season. Guy who was struck out 31 times in 86 at bats coming in. That's how you hit 198 for the year. He's a freshman from Fresno. And a lot of times freshmen are overmatched physically in that first year. Short swing, pop to shallow center, and Cerrone will come on and make the catch. That's 2 outs. To keep up with all of the NCAA College World Series information, log on to NCAA.com, the official online home for all 88 NCAA championships. So Detweiler and Rivera quickly out here in the 7th, and back to the top of the order for Muno, who is 0 for 2 with a walk.
At this point in the game, Trevor Holder working on the 5th quality start here at the College World Series.
Fouled out of play. Dave Perno says he is as big a big game player as I have ever had in this program. Doesn't have overpowering stuff. Fastball high 80s, low 90s. Good curveball and a changeup, but he was a 10th round pick of the Florida Marlins. So they see a future for this young man. And the toughness is a quality you just can't measure.
Starting pitching, North Carolina and Rice seem like they had some big time pitchers. State. Hurt. They have 5 quality starts. World Series against
into the 7th, he'd have been throwing a party.
Oh, for sure.
Speared at first by Poitras. Got it. Missed the base. No. They said Holder missed the base. And Muno is safe. He got there in plenty of time. And now Dave Perno wants to come out and talk about this one and says, okay. Now, wait a minute. Maybe not okay.
Remember, Trevor Holder got smoked on the shin, his right shin. And when he goes over there, I think he's going to attempt to tag the bag with the right leg. Let's see how well he gets over there. He'll come into the screen. A little gingerfoot. He just overran it.
What a play by Poitras.
Looks like he might have caught the back corner to me.
I thought he caught the corner.
Oh, maybe that angle's even, it's harder to tell. Now, umpires are told to watch the base and the foot and listen for the ball.
Yeah.
So it's not like he saw that out of the peripheral vision. He was looking right down at that bag. First base umpire David Wiley on top of that one.
Poitras, who made the All-SEC defensive team, and you can see why. Great play diving to his right, and because he missed the bag, they're going to charge Holder with the error because they would have had him had he touched the base. So Muno, who is a base stealing threat, is on with 2 out for Hedstrom. Nobody has tried to steal a base tonight in this College World Series.
You're probably in a can't miss, no pitch out count right here, 2-0.
Hedstrom back up the middle. Beckham, the shortstop, shovels it on to second for the force. So Hedstrom is gone, and so are the Fresno State Bulldogs here in the 7th. We're tied at 3. Been out here in Omaha. The 7 first-round draft picks have proven themselves at the plate, in the field, and on the mound. We have been treated to a glimpse of the future during the 2008 College World Series. Late game heroics have been another theme in the College World Series. 5 games marked by rallies in the final innings. It's taught us it is never too late for the next clutch hit. And it's never been too late for Bulldogs either. The Georgia Bulldogs and the Fresno State Bulldogs tied at 3, bottom of the 7th inning. We'll see Allen and Toms, the bottom of the order, and then back to the top of the Georgia batting order as you look at Gordon Beckham for Ryan Peisel, who has emerged as a star here in Omaha. And for his 2nd inning of work, Jason Breckley, who gave up the tying run in the 6th. Allen has grounded out twice in his plate appearances tonight and is now 4 for 12 here in Omaha, still hitting .333.
A big theme here in Omaha has been the productive part of the top of the order of most of the teams that have been here, but Lyle Allen is the one guy for this Georgia team that has given them depth. A couple games against Stanford, their 3-0 record.
Here's second base umpire Frank Sylvester, and we want to pass along our congratulations to him because he has a daughter, Lauren, who is a sophomore at Notre Dame, and she will be competing in the U.S. Olympic swim trials in the 400-meter freestyles. That will be here in Omaha downtown at the Quest Center, where they have built an auditorium. Going to be very proud of Lauren. Grounded is short. The freshman Muno.
That's an out.
Gets Allen. Fresno State coach Mike Batesel said, you know, you're going to take a look at the ERAs. Nobody under 6.75 is really available to us tonight in the early innings. So you've had Bonesteel at 6.75. Floathy. I mean, it just goes on. Now we're on to Breckley, who has a 7.54. And these kids have acquitted themselves beautifully tonight.
It's fantastic the way they've responded. There's such a momentum to what they are doing that no one wants to let anyone down. They're just riding the wave.
Collectively, this staff has had a quality start. They've pieced it together, but you don't care how you do it. When you've got a bunch of tired arms, you've got to reach deep, and these guys have done the job tonight as Tom's grounds out.
Remember in our meeting this morning, they didn't even know who their starting pitcher was going to be. A little strategy on the nerves to not let them know till 2 o'clock. Bonesteel didn't know till then. I have an idea that Mike knew.
But you know, as a group, they had to know that one of those inflated ERAs was going to be the starter, and the rest of them were going to get in this game.
And the everyday players that were in our meeting kept saying, as long as they get on the mound, throw quick and throw strikes. We know they'll probably give up some runs, but we're not intimidated by that fact. We'll just go out there, we'll swing the bats.
It was a nice breaking ball there by Breckley. 1-1 to Pizell, who started this game with a double and scored back in the first inning. He's 1 for 3. And he's been one of the guys that led this team back. One of the guys that Dave Perno went to and said, I need leadership from the seniors. I need quality play from the juniors, because everybody else will follow if you guys do what I'm telling you. They have, and here they are, 2 wins away from a national championship.
It all started with what has turned out to be hell week, that first week of training.
Yeah.
And the strength and conditioning coach put them through a tough first week, and they knew they were going to have to pay the price.
Struck him out. Good inning of work from Jason Breckley, the senior from Moore Park, California. Strikes out the 3rd man he faces here in the 7th. Will go to the 8th, tied at 3. Welcome back to the College World Series in Omaha. We have played 7 full. It's tied 3-3, Fresno State and Georgia. And coming in, these two teams had the highest staff ERAs of the 8-team field. Well, tonight, they've shown their stuff. They've looked really good, and we have seen Alex McCree before. He is making his 4th College World Series appearance this year and has pitched brilliantly out here. And this kid has some juice.
And he's projected to be a big-time starter next year in the SEC for them.
Will face the middle of this batting order, starting with the number 3 man, Eric Wetzel, who is looking for his first hit tonight. McCree can get it up there for a lefty around 90, 92 miles an hour. Got some movement on it as well.
It's really starting to grow into his body, get strong, and be able to take that lanky body down the hill more accurately. A lot of these freshmen and sophomores still growing into their bodies, getting strong enough, but they can be projected very, very well. The arm strength, but a lot of times a live arm on a young man means a wild arm.
Checks his swing, and McCree falls behind 3-0 to Wetzel. The 3-4-5 men in this order only have 2 singles to show for their efforts tonight. It's been the bottom of the order that's done the job. Home run, a 2-run shot from Detweiler at the number 8 man, and Jordan Rivera, the number 9 hitter, had a solo home run back in the 3rd. That's provided all the runs for Fresno State. 3-1 to Wetzel. Lost him. Let's head to Kyle Peterson. Kyle, what do you have?
Thank you, Mike. With Augie Garrido, former Fresno State ball player, Augie Garrido.
That was a long time ago.
Well, 1959. He played it for 3 years, 59 to 61. Have your number one retired. But you played here at the College World Series in 59 for this team. What do you remember about that?
Well, I remember we finished third that year. It was the highest finish ever for Fresno State, and now Fresno State has exceeded that with this year. And them being the miracle year, Rosenblatt eventually coming to a close as a stadium. I just wanted to be here as a part of the Fresno State University of Texas story.
Now, I mean, obviously, since that 59 trip, you made plenty of other trips back here, 5 national titles. I mean, what are the best memories, either as a player or as a coach of this place?
Well, I think the best memories are the confidence you take from playing at this place, the experience itself. Winning the national championship, losing the national championship, being here, losing 2 in Q, and all the different parts of it. It's a combination of what it finally does to help you have confidence in yourself, what it does for the players, and Omaha should be very proud of all the lives that they've affected in a very positive way.
We were talking about this just a minute ago. When you're just sitting here as a fan and watching a baseball game, what are you looking for when you're sitting here watching a game?
Well, the first thing I look for is the pitcher. I watch the pitcher to see what kind of rhythm he has, and then I take a look quickly around the infield to see whether the infielders are in rhythm with the pitcher, and then I watch the outfielders to see if they are in sync with the pitcher. The pitcher is the heartbeat of what goes on. He's the orchestra leader, and that's why you see so many outstanding defensive plays by both of these teams. Every player on the team is in the right rhythm with the pitcher and ready to catch the ball.
World, you hear that? The pitcher's the orchestra leader. That's what I've always thought, too. Augie, great to see you.
That's because you're a great band leader.
Good to see you.
The question is, could you dance?
No, I couldn't. Still can't. Good to see you.
Toward the gap in right center off the bat of Susdorf. Wetzel on his way to third. They're going to wave him in. The throw to the plate won't be nearly in time. Fresno State takes the lead. Susdorf comes through again, a ringing double to the gap in right center. Our thanks to Augie Garrido, great coach, terrific guy, and what a stroke by Susdorf.
Sweet swing. His last at bat, he hit a triple to the same place. This one a little shallower, gets in there just enough to score this run. Eric Wetzel gets on with a walk, and walks can kill you. When you lead off an inning, he runs the bases very well. And the underdogs of Fresno State are back on top.
That is a quality at-bat. The left-hander Susdorf against a tough left-hander in Alex McCree. And he just rung one out to right center. Wetzel was being waved all the way. And now Amati, line drive, could be 2. Got it. Susdorf with a base running error with the crack of that bat. He's got to try to get back. He took one step toward third base, and the All-American Gordon Beckham hustled and dove for the bag and beat him there.
Line drive, you go back to the bag, believe it or not. You don't freeze, you don't go forward. You actually take a half a step back to the bag before you read the ball. Now, the only way on a line drive that you will break forward is after you've read your infielders prior to the pitch, and you can realize where a line drive will go through and where it has a possibility of being caught. Great play by Gordon Beckham.
Sure was.
Diving after him. There's no way he could have done a reach tag, so he knew he was going to have to give up his body. But you see the secondary lead, and then after the crack of the bat, a little bit more. But on a liner, anything from your eyes below, you've got to take a half a jab step back to the bag.
Fresno State certainly making the most of its hits tonight. 4 runs on 5 hits. Beckham, so athletic, was able to make that play. But Susdorf, at least a temporary hero, even with that base running error, he has driven in the go-ahead run. And now Mendonça, who would have had an opportunity with a runner at second, swings through another fastball, and it's 1-2. Of course, that's you're fighting your natural tendency to go at the crack of the bat on a line drive. But you have to fight it. This one is hit deep left center field. It is gone. Mendonça with his 18th home run. And they're shelling Alex McCree. his 3rd home run in the College World Series and his 8th RBI here in Omaha. And he has been lights out at 3rd base.
Picture
3 line
perfect.
drives hitting this inning.
Quick hands, quick hips. Stayed right on the ball and drove it out.
And Susdorf, the happiest guy after that base running error. He drove in the go-ahead run. Mendoza has added to it. And another left-hander. Overland is up, and the lefties are drilling the lefty.
Well, Mendoza has shown the leather tonight. Took a few at-bats before the bat woke up. Flew to center. Grounded to first, struck out, and then the home run.
And McCree is not used to this treatment. He's been wicked against everybody, left and right, but particularly the left-handers. And the story of Fresno State continues. Cinderella's wearing cleats and a sweat-stained hat. And she is tough.
And wearing their emotions on their sleeves. You can see it all.
Boy, are they fun to watch. Two outs, but 2 huge runs in. Fresno State 5-3. And that means we're probably not going to see Joshua Fields, because it's not going to be a closed situation. Not going to be a save situation, rather. Hit him right in the you-know-what. And Overland is on. And there's Joshua Fields. College baseball's closer of the year. 17 saves and 17 tries. He pitched the other night in a non-save situation and was lit up. And McCree really struggling here. We're going to have a pitching change as Dave Purnell comes out to get himself a new pitcher. We'll check it out when we come back. Nice place to come, Omaha, Nebraska, in time for our Coach Zero game track. It's been a game of big hits for Fresno State. 3 home runs tonight. They have hit 10 in the College World Series. They have made the most of their 6 hits. Detweiler 1 for 3, the big blow, a 2-run shot. Poitras 1 for 3, an RBI for Georgia. A new pitcher, Justin Earls, to come in to face Steve Detweiler. Overland at first after being plunked in the rear end. Detweiler, who has that 2-run homer back in the 5th. It was his 10th of the year. A little unusual. Have a guy who's 8th in your lineup with 10 home runs. But Detweiler suffering from that torn ligament in his thumb. The numbers on Earls, making his 26th appearance of the season. Got to hand it to Detweiler. Was not going to have surgery on that torn ligament. It was completely torn. So they told him he was not going to do any more damage to the thumb, although the surgery would be more complicated if he continued to play. It was a no-brainer for him.
Exemplifies the attitude of this Fresno State team.
The Georgia bullpen was lights out the first 2 games, but they chose to pitch their closer in a non-save situation last time out. He got racked up. This ball hit the deep right center field. 1 skip to the wall. Here comes Overland. They'll wave him home. A stand-up double for Detweiler. He has driven in 3 tonight, and the lead grows to 3. Well, they've hit some shots in this inning.
He does a good job getting on top of this pitch. It's a high fastball. He stays through it, doesn't pop it up, drives it in the gap. And then Ryan Overland, who's not very fleet of foot, but really cut the bags really well to get in there. And I'll tell you, Detweiler, or Rottweiler, as tough as he is. He's driving.
You can hear him say, "Who needs a ligament in your thumb?"
Oh my gosh.
Come on.
Now Rivera. And they're going to pinch hit for Rivera, who was 1 for 3 with a home run, and Jake Johnson will come on to hit for him here in the 8th. So Rivera will watch the rest of this one. Johnson, a .218 hitter who has 1 home run this year.
Little strategy going back and forth between the dugouts right here. Mike Batesel a little late in announcing his pinch hitter, runs him up there quick, but now Dave Perno reacting to the late pinch hitter is going to switch pitchers.
We'll check on the changes when we come back to Omaha as Fresno State with a big 8th inning. I invite you to join us for Wednesday Night Baseball, presented by Goodyear as part of the AL-NL Showdown, presented by State Farm on ESPN2 at 7 Eastern. The Diamondbacks wrap up their 3-game series at Fenway against the Boston Red Sox. And you can catch baseball tonight, presented by CDW at 10 Eastern. Will Harville will be the new pitcher after Jake Johnson was called as the pinch hitter. He'll come out, and Justin Wilson, who is a starting pitcher, pitched in Game 1 and Game 3 against North Carolina. Game 1 against Rice. And he will come on as the pinch hitter for Johnson.
He's had 19 at-bats this year, 17 at-bats, .294. Mike Batesell's pulling out all the stops.
Yes, he is. Looks pretty confident with the bat in his hand up there. Detweiler is down at second after a double drove in Overland with the 6th run. Here's an amazing number for you. Fresno State 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Wow. But they are ahead 6-3. Home runs, doubles, triples.
And men on first.
With men on first, are the bases empty. That is making the most of those bats.
Well, Justin Wilson's up there swinging the bat like Dontrell Willis or Carlos Zambrano.
Yeah.
When I played for the Dodgers, Fernando Valenzuela loved to do this.
He was a really good hitter, wasn't he?
Yeah.
2-2. Foul! Outside first and foul. Well, of course, when you have the DH, it doesn't show up so much, but when you get to the big leagues, pitchers in the National League can help themselves so much.
The best hitting pitcher I ever saw was Rick Rhoden, who ended up being a great golfer. He was the best hitting pitcher I think I've ever seen.
Chop towards second. Toms will throw him out, but the damage is done. 3 runs come home. Mendonça with the big blast. Bombs away. And Fresno State leads it 6-3.
The NCAA College World Series is presented on ESPN by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's. And in part by the first ever G8 from Pontiac. the official performance machine of the NCAA.
Rosenblatt Stadium with the sun setting in Omaha, and it may be setting on Georgia's first game chances because Fresno State exploded for 3 in the 8th. Mike Batesel, the head coach of the Fresno State Bulldogs, said, look, our starting pitchers are out of gas. We are going to have to go with people who have a 6.75 ERA and up. And they have done the job. Collectively, they have a 3-run lead in the bottom of the 8th. And they've got a chance to win game 1 over favored Georgia and then make tomorrow night's game an elimination game for the Bulldogs in red and white. Part of the batting order here with Olson, Beckham, and Poitras, 2, 3, 4. And Jason Breckley, the senior out of Moore Park, California, who comes in with a 7.54 ERA. This is what, his 3rd inning of work? And they have taken these huge ERAs, slapped them together, and held them to 3 runs. Not bad. Sometimes you never know what's going to happen until you get the opportunity.
A lot of relievers' ERAs are built on 1 or 2 bad outings.
Yeah.
Even a big league reliever that's successful will end up at the end of the year with a high ERA if that rhythm of the season seems like you give up runs, then you have 9 scoreless innings, and you give up runs, you have 9 scoreless innings. If that rhythm is out of whack, at the end of the year you can have a bad ERA and still get a good contract as a reliever.
But what is revealing about the statistics when you look deeper at these guys is that people are hitting over 300 against them. And that's over the course of their entire season. So maybe in their case, it is not 1 bad inning.
That's true. It's very true.
That's a very good defense lawyer argument you had, by the way.
I don't want to keep burying these guys.
No.
Their numbers definitely
Tonight's
do
all
it,
that counts.
You know what? It's unbelievable.
Tonight is all that counts. It doesn't matter a warm bucket of spit what they've done the rest of the season. It's tonight, tomorrow night, Wednesday night if we play them. Because this is for all the marbles. And Burke, their closer, who's had a terrific year, is up. This one is fisted into no man's land, and a base hit to lead off the 8th for Matt Olson. A little looper. Of course, you have been on Cinderella teams before. On the biggest stage there is, the '88 Dodgers were as good a Cinderella team as it gets.
Well, scrappy as these Fresno State Bulldogs are, remind me of like guys like Mickey Hatcher and Steve Sachs who are on that team that scrap it out. I don't know about our bullpen being as bad as these guys. I think we had some really good guys in our bullpen. Jay Howell closing, and Brian Holton and Tim Leary and some guys. But, you know, there's a big league presence on this team. The pitching coach for Fresno State, Mike Maine, his son, Brent Maine, was a big league catcher. So there's a lot of experience as far as what they can relay to these kids.
We are going to have a pitching change. Breckley, after that bloop single is done, and we will see Brandon Burke, the Fresno State closer, here in the 8th. There are Cinderella stories, then there are Cinderella stories. Certainly the New York Jets in 1968 qualified. Led by Joe Namath, they beat the Colts. The Miracle Mets in '69 won a 100 regular season game and then beat the Baltimore Orioles. Team USA in the 1980 Hockey Olympics shocked the Soviets. And 1985, Villanova, the basketball team that knocked off Georgetown, one of the greatest teams ever in college basketball and one of the greatest upsets ever seen. Brandon Burke, the closer, 4 and 5, comes on to pitch here. Breckley comes out, and they're hoping that Burke can get 6 outs and earn the save here. And he will face All-American Gordon Beckham and his .402 average to start. There's a bomb to deep left, and Beckham says, hello, closer, goodbye, baseball. One pitch, 2 runs, 1-run game. Well, we haven't had any that sneaked over the fence, have we?
Golden Spike Award finalist, first team All-American, SEC Player of the Year, first round draft pick, Chicago White Sox, 8th pick overall. Gordon Beckham, last out of Georgia's 2006 season as a freshman. Dave Perno, you'll lead us back, kid. He has. Not only for the season and here, but in this game.
2-run bomb. Only the second home run given up by Brandon Burke the entire year in 72 innings pitched. And now Poitras, and Burke has got to shake it off as the lead has been reduced to a run. Nobody out here in the 8th. Poitras steps out late and was granted time, and Burke didn't look all too happy about that decision.
Well, Brandon Burke last night pitched 2 innings against Carolina, got the save, only threw 18 pitches, so he's not really overworked. 2 scoreless innings in a 6-1 game.
Like a defensive back, a closer has to have a short memory, because you can light him up one night and you expect him to come back the next, but you have a short enough memory to say the first pitch I threw was a 2-run blast. Now, can you do that?
You've got to get back in there. And you know what? There's a, excuse the phrase, a bulldog mentality for a lot of closers, as there's the closer of the year in the NCAA, Joshua Fields, warming up in the Georgia bullpen.
Hoping he has a reason to come in. Walked him. The tying run is aboard.
Well, big players on the big stage. We've had 7 #1 draft picks in this tournament here. A lot of times we find out who the champion is, but we've had a lot of individual champions. And that Gordon Beckham is definitely one. And that young man's going to sign an expensive contract in a few days. But right now, he wants to win this final.
Now you're down by 1. You're the home team. The book says you play small ball and try to get the runner over. Do you bunt with Massineri, who was 1 for 3, takes a called strike there. Massineri with power, 11 home runs this year. And he's been one of your top hitters late in the season. He has not sacrificed successfully in 2008. Maybe not the guy.
But you say he came around late in the season. Was that really late in the season, or was that pre-baby or post-baby? Because ever since the daughter's been born, married to his beautiful wife right there, the average has gone way up.
Yep, sure has.
Since he became a daddy.
Sleep deprivation, perhaps?
Softer hands behind the plate.
1-1. Pop foul back on the screen just below us. 382 and 6 home runs since the baby was born. Well, if he was a freshman or sophomore, they'd be encouraging him to have more kids. They make you a 450 hitter with twins.
In an earlier broadcast, I said if he becomes a big leaguer, has a long career, he'll probably have 11 or 12 kids.
1-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Poitras at first, not much of a threat to run.
Now we're hoping the baby looks like mom, right? She was Miss Nevada.
Absolutely. Usually that's the case, that what we're rooting for. That was a breaking ball that hung, but it hung way up in the zone. And he flies to straightaway center field for the first out. Sometimes your bad pitch is so bad it doesn't hurt you.
It was a hanger, but an overhang.
Now Cerrone, who singled his last time up, drove in a run.
Mark Bates will throw some instructions out there. Checking his defensive chart, position his defense, and checking the stats to see who's running and where they're hitting it.
Like both of these coaches.
Oh, fantastic. Both these teams are
good kids. Running down the line. Fair block. Seisdorf comes up in the corner. They're going to send the runner. The throw to the plate dropped. Overland. The ball got there. Bang, bang. And Cerrone delivers again. Poitras all the way around to score.
Well, good hustle, good plays all around. A hit and run with Cerrone, who struck out 5 times in their last game. So
and that looked like it hit him.
And a great call by Dave Perno, head coach for Georgia. Ball hits him square in the back, but he was coming straight at home plate.
And if that ball doesn't cut, it just beat him there. It would have been bang, bang at the plate. And now we're tied, a runner at third. Cerrone comes through again, and Joey Lewis is on, and they are roughing up the best that Fresno State has to offer right now. That's their closer, Brandon Burke, and he has not missed many bats in this inning. 1 out, the infield has to come in. Burke needs a strikeout. And in 72 innings this year, he only has 43. He doesn't have the big fastball. Georgia has been a late inning comeback team.
Well, if they get this run in from third, you've got the closer of the year warming up in the bullpen, Joshua Fields. He features 95 to 98 miles an hour. First round draft pick by the Seattle Mariners. Could be setting up for J.J. Putt sometime in the near future. 17 for 17 in saves. If he gets his 18th, he'll be tied for the season lead here in the NCAA. But Brandon Burke, one closer against another, one trying to get his team in the dugout with a tie, and the other one would love to see a run and get his 18th.
Lewis is 1 for 3 as a hitter. He is 5 for 12 in the College World Series. He has driven in 3. This would be enormous if he could get his 4th. So both of these teams with late inning heroics. Fresno State gets 3 in the top of the 8th. Georgia answers with 3 in the bottom of the 8th, with a runner at third and 1 out to Lewis. 1 and 2. Dipped his arm, tried to go a little bit sidearm and get him to chase. And Mark Richt, the head coach of the football program, seeing what really good college baseball is all about tonight.
I'll tell you what, headlines in Georgia, if they come back, they are led by a Beckham blast. Down by 3, and he puts a 2 spot up there in a hurry on the closer.
Well, in a hurry is right. 2-2 to Lewis. Full count. And I don't know if you're really upset if you walk Lewis or not. At least it sets up a double play possibility.
Exactly.
And you don't have to have your infield in on the edge of the grass. Breaking ball hit right back up the middle and through. Off the bag at second. Georgia takes a 7-6 lead. Lewis into second with hustle.
Time's up.
Cerrone scores. Lewis, as Burke tried to barehand it. If he gets that ball, the run cannot score. But he just missed it.
Well, Brandon Burke goes with a breaking ball because they're not afraid to walk him, but it's just hitting the exact right place. And when the ball hits the bag at second, there is definitely going to be a chance. Watch this deflection to make this into a double.
Adam Fuller will come on for Lewis as the pinch runner. What a turn of events. Georgia has taken a 7-6 lead. So Fresno State had pieced together their pitchers because they had so many tired arms. Then they get to their closer, Brandon Burke, a guy who has the career and single season saves lead for this program, and he is getting shelled here in the 8th. Georgia just keeps coming from behind against Stanford. 2 runs in the 7th to win by 1. Against Miami, they get 4 to win 7-4 in the 9th. Now in the 8th, they get 4, and they have the lead over Fresno State. Are you kidding me?
Fresno State, a pitching staff tonight with ERAs all under over 6.75. And then when the one with the legit stats come in, he gets picked on.
I mean, you can't live by expectations. They were certainly out of whack tonight. Fields is ready. The guy who has been lights out in save situations. He pitched the other night in a non-save situation. They lit him up like a Christmas tree, but you can forget that stuff.
Yeah, he gave up 4 runs against Stanford. Score was 10-4 when he came in. When he left, the game was over. It was 10-8.
Lyle Allen trying to add to it. Toward the gap in left center, but Susdorf is over to make the catch. 2 outs in the inning. And Cerrone has to stay at second base. If you're just joining us, you have missed a whale of a college baseball game so far. Fresno State against Georgia. Glad you could join us here in the 8th inning. It is 7-6 Georgia. Fresno State gets 3 in the top of the inning. The Georgia Bulldogs respond in the bottom of the inning to put up a 4 spot. This one to shallow left. Muno goes back on the grass and makes the catch. That's the third out, but Georgia gets 4. We will go to the 9th. Georgia on the strength of a 2-run blast by the All-American Beckham with a 1-run lead over Fresno State.
One to deep left, and all of a sudden this one's turned into a rout.
And you're facing a team that's 45-0 when ahead after 8 innings.
Georgia's going to take the lead. Holy cow, what a turn of events.
And deep to left field. Blake Dean's double gives LSU a 9th inning comeback. He got a hanger and he hammers it. Slam, and Carolina takes a 4-run lead in the 9th. Way back and gone. Chad Flack, a 2-run homer.
Now time for a Pontiac game-changing performance. It was another dramatic late-inning rally. Here in the 8th, Gordon Beckham, the All-American, started it with a 2-run shot. And Georgia just kept scoring against the closer until they got the lead. The Georgia Bulldogs on top of the Fresno State Bulldogs, 7-6. And here is your closer, ladies and gentlemen, the closer of the year by the baseball writers. All he did was go 17 for 17 in save situations, tied for 2nd in the country, 1 behind Tyler Kahn of Southern Mississippi. And he is on with lights out stuff to face the top of the order for the Fresno State Bulldogs. Muno.
Ball.
97 miles an hour. Some real giddy up from Joshua Fields, the senior from Hull, Georgia.
Joshua was drafted by the Atlanta Braves and decided not to sign last year. Decided to come back, and when he decided to come back, that was one of the sparks for Dave Perno. said, we can turn around this losing season. They were 23-33. If they can win the championship, they will be the first team ever in NCAA history to have a losing record the year prior and then win the national title.
And that was a crushing year for this ball club. That ball lined to right and caught a couple of steps short of the warning track by Matt Olson. So Muno hit it well. Fields warming up, hoping to have a chance to pitch. Not much of a reaction on that one, is it? Not my job.
That's ice water in your veins.
Yes, it is.
That's closer mentality right there.
Yes, it is.
Not even a fist pump.
No, nothing. Just a casual turn to your left to watch it sail up about 20 rows. And, okay, well, that ties it. I'll probably get in the game.
I think that's a short-term memory.
That may be no memory at all. But he knows how to do this. Pitching to Hedstrom, who is still looking for his first hit tonight. 0 for 4. Wetzel is on deck. There is that hook, which is basically unhittable. You got to sit on the fastball at 97, and that is a knee buckler.
At 82, it's the equalizer.
Gas. Hedstrom is gone. It'll be up to Wetzel. He is 0 for 3. He has walked tonight. If Wetzel can keep it alive, Susdorf, the most dangerous man on this club, is on deck. But they'll need Wetzel to reach or hit a bomb of his own. He only has 6 home runs this year, but has had huge RBIs all season long. There is Susdorf, who nearly threw out a runner at the plate. Strike called. A generous low fastball call, perhaps. Fields, who blew 8 saves a year ago in a disastrous season, has not blown a save all year this year. And he throws that curveball that starts out at the thigh. It ends up on the ground behind the plate. High fastball popped up on the infield. Poitras, that's it. The 18th save of the year ties him for the national lead for Joshua Fields. And Georgia with 8th inning heroics again. Down by 3, they get 4 and turn it over to the closer of the year. And Fresno State shocked at the turn of events as their closer couldn't get it done. What a game.
Miami let this Georgia team off the canvas in their very first game. Their closer threw an infield grounder away that let them come back. With that life, they are now 1 win away from a college championship.
That got a little roar out of Fields. And Gordon Beckham with a huge hit in the 8th, a 2-run blast. Turns it over to Fields, and he closes it out. Fresno State, a tough, tough night. They played so hard, so well. So many guys that had no expectations came through for them. But you know what? They're not done yet. Tomorrow is another day. They have survived because they are Cinderella in cleats. They'll get another shot tomorrow night. 4-0 in elimination games in this NCAA tournament. They'll have a chance to win a 5th tomorrow night, and I wouldn't put anything past Fresno State.
Not at all. When you're 4-0 in elimination games, Mike Betzel has been there. He knows how to patch it together. He proved it tonight. The guy that he could count on didn't get it done now. But Brandon Burke, their closer, you never know. He'd come back. And that's Ryan Peisel right there. He's reading that. That senior third baseman, he's led him emotionally, and he's led him with his bat.
I mean, this has been about as much fun as we can have out here watching these two teams go at each other. Let's go down to Aaron.
All right, Mike, thanks so much. I'm here right now with Gordon Beckham. Bottom of the 8th, facing Fresno State's closer. What are you looking for during that at bat?
Well, I mean, I'm just looking for a good pitch to hit. Obviously, we're down 3. I mean, there's not 2 people on, so I couldn't hit a 3-run home run. But, you know, it just worked out for me. And he threw a pitch out over the plate, and I got a hold of it. And, you know, it worked out.
We've seen this team come back from being down so many times already in this College World Series. What's the mental state in the dugout when you guys are down?
We never think we're out of it, and you know we showed it tonight, and they put up a great fight. They put up 3 runs in the 8th, and you know a lot of people are saying we're done, but you know we came in the dugout. We said we're going to get some runners on and see what happens.
A lot of people thought Fresno State had the momentum coming into this game because they had to play 3 straight games. You guys get the win tonight. What does that do heading into tomorrow?
Well, it's huge, but I'm not going to put any stock in tonight because obviously you got to win 2 to win it, and the last 2 championships have been won. The other teams come back and won 2 games, so we're not going to put any stock in it. We got to come out and win tomorrow.
All right, thanks.
Yeah.
Boy, you got to like Gordon Beckham. He just got a tremendous attitude. He's not going to gloat. He says, yeah, went up there and it worked out. He had this monster 2-run home run. And with that shot, he has 74 runs driven in this year. That ties the Georgia single-season RBI record, sharing it with J.R. Showalter in 1990. That's the year they won their national championship. Once again, our final score, Georgia 7, Fresno State 6. Next on ESPN 2, SportsCenter. Be sure to catch Game 2 of the College World Series Finals on ESPN tomorrow at 7. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Along with Oral Hershiser, Aaron Andrews, and our entire hardworking crew, this is Mike Patrick. So long from the College World Series. Thank you for watching. Now here's sports.